Okay, turn it off. That's all we can afford.
What's going on, you guys? Steve here. For the longest time, I've always wondered why people seem to lose interest in discovering new music and new artists once they enter their 30s. This isn't always the case with people, but in general, it seems to be true. Upon Googling this phenomenon, I discovered it has a name called taste freeze. It doesn't really matter who I talk to. If I talk to my mom about music, my uncles, my friends' parents, my grandparents, no matter their background or age, they all seem to look back on music in their 20s specifically as their golden era of music. I figured we could just unpack this and get to the bottom of it. I actually wrote down some of the stats here. The majority of people claim to have discovered their music tastes as teenagers. This really isn't a big surprise because as teenagers, most people discover their free will. They start to have their own experiences with friends and people outside of their parents where they form their own opinions and ideas. So this is normal. Most music is also targeted and catered towards teenagers and young adults anyways. So it makes sense that young people would, discover music and be the most amped up about it. Most people report that in their 20s they have their best musical experiences. They're most active in their music scenes, going to live shows. They claim the best music that they've heard came out while they were in college or in their 20s as young adults, kind of in their nightlife scene, socializing. The overwhelming majority of people report that in their 30s they seem to lose interest in discovering new artists and going to shows, checking for new music. These stats aren't necessarily surprising, but it is still interesting how this is almost universally true with all people. When most people enter their 30s, they seem to care a lot less about fashion trends, a lot of the slang that's going on, just trends in general. People seem to lose interest in it. And this is where the freeze comes in. A lot of people start to realize, I don't really connect with this stuff. I don't really like this. I like this stuff over here that came out maybe 5-10 years ago. I'm going to stick with this. And this is where, if you ask your parents about, hey, what's your favorite album? Or like, what's your favorite music? And they'll typically tell you about stuff from when they were your age, or specifically in their 20s if you're not in your 20s. What is the cause for this? Honestly, the cause is just life. As people get older, they have kids, their interests change, they get neck deep in their careers. They have other things that they prioritize and value other than, just being out at the bars and going to festivals every weekend. That's not always the case, but in general, this seems to be true. I think that's just the natural order of things. I think that the music industry and the music scene is just always going to be a young person's game. It's targeted towards young people. Young people are the largest consumer base. I don't think that's going to change. This seems to have been a pretty consistent trend over the last 100 years since the conventional music industry has been created. When I speak to older people like my grandparents, they also look back on music from the 50s and 60s as the good old days. I just thought this was something super interesting that I just wanted to bounce off you guys and unpack really quick. I'm curious to know what you guys would consider your golden age of music. So yeah, just drop a comment and let me know. As always, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.